So I just got done playing Ashes of Creation for about 8 hours or so with a couple of friends with Showback and S-Fan. And basically, I wanted to just kind of give my thoughts on how the game is so far in its current state and what I think about it. Getting right into it, I want to start with combat. The combat in this game, it feels slow but smooth, and I think it'll favor anyone who likes classic WoW gameplay. It's not really a Twitch reaction game, so it won't be like a high, fast-paced PvP arena like World of Warcraft arenas or anything like that. But I do feel like you have to consistently be moving as a ranged DPS and a healer to position yourself in a fight, which I like. But you'll be moving at a slower pace while you're casting, and yeah, you can completely move while you're casting. You move at like, I don't know, 30% of the speed. But I think that this makes the game feel more dynamic, and I really liked it. Trying to solo mobs felt pretty slow, and it was just tough in general. Plus, if not having a healer means you'll have to sit and wait after each mob you kill, which is not fun. So questing with at least a healer and preferably a tank is ideal. When we actually got into a group, we had 7 or 8 players. And this is when the game really started to come alive to me. You could feel the synergies of having a healer and a bard in your group to buff the party. Unfortunately, we didn't find a tank, so I ended up kiting most of the mobs as a frost mage, which I thought was really fun. However, I learned that you should definitely get a tank in every group. Unfortunately, this game was pretty hard to like find people to group up with. The chat system the chat system is not great. There's like a global chat, which I tried spamming looking for members a few times. It was hard to like get people to come to join us. Definitely being in a guild and having a guild chat or being in Discord with people and being like, hey, we need a tank. Does anybody want to go grind for a bit? I think would have been a much better experience. So now I'm starting to look for guilds, which I think I'll have. I think it'll just be better in the future that way. We were mainly killing high level mobs, and one thing I noticed about this game is that with the high level mobs, that you don't actually miss ever in this game. All your abilities seem to hit. It's just that the higher level mobs had more health. So I'm a WoW main and trying to fight mobs that are higher level than you, you'll just end up missing most of the time. In classic WoW at least, and in this game you don't ever miss. So you can pretty much kill anything higher level than you as long as you had enough people to just live through the hits. So that was different. I didn't mind it at all. Honestly, I had fun fighting higher level mobs and seeing if we could live. Of course, they would one-shot you if they got near you, which sucked, but you know, that's how it goes. We were mainly farming elite mobs for XP. And the more people that you have, the better that it feels because you don't have to use as much mana for each mob that you kill. The healers don't have to heal as much if you have a tank. And just having a good group comp is very rewarding in this game, which I liked. We did get into 2 PvP altercations. One, we flagged up and tried to kill a few people that were killing mobs near us. But as soon as we told our group that we were going to flag up and kill these guys, like 2 people left instantly. So we ended up getting rolled. I don't think they wanted to partake in PvP. But yeah, that's another reason why you should join a guild and like be in comms and stuff. And this game is going to very much so be a bit of a Zerg fest, I think, when it comes to PvP, just like Throne and Liberty. It's an open MMO, sandbox MMO, so the world definitely is massive. You can run around and kind of do what you want. There'll be player housing later on. There'll be world PvP. There'll be instance PvE. All there's so much that this game has said that it's gonna do. I can't wait to like get more towards the mid and end game to see a lot more of the content that this game has. As of right now, that's kind of one of my feedback for the game, is that the game doesn't really have a lot of content at low game. Questing feels very lackluster. It doesn't give very much XP. The quests are so far away and you're running on foot or you're really slow mount and to get everywhere, and it's hard to figure out where you need to go. You really learn to appreciate things in an MMO like what World of Warcraft has, like when just a simple, you know, question mark above a quest giver to let you know that that's the guy you need to go and talk to. Or having a questy add-on which tells you everything, or having a rested XP guide, stuff like that. This game needs some help as far as questing goes and where to go. It's even hard to find your party members. I was trying to get S-Fan and Showback to come turn a quest in, and they were standing 15 feet away from me and they couldn't find me. It took them literally 5 minutes to find me. So things like that, making the icons bigger, making people easier to find is some improvements that they need to make. I'm not really a big profession person. In the starting zone, you get to get a little sample of the professions when you're doing the quest for the mount. And I mean, it's pretty standard. You know, you go and grab some flowers, you take it to the mill, you grind them down, you make something. You go mine some rocks and you mill those, you make a pickaxe kind of thing. It seems pretty cool, very New World like. However, I'm looking forward to getting more into the professions and trying those later on. One additional thing about the combat is like the mana regen felt kind of bad in this game. You need to like sit down to regen your mana, and it felt pretty slow. I think that maybe the out of combat regen could be boosted a bit. That way you don't have as much downtime. When you do get killed by a mob, you get XP debt, which is just like a small experience loss, which is not really anything at low level, but I can imagine like dying at higher levels could be pretty detrimental. You lose like anywhere from 1 to 4% of your experience bar when you die. So that's why also you don't want to quest solo. You really want to be in a group with a healer, because when you die and you have a cleric, the cleric can res you and you don't lose as much experience debt. Which I like. I mean, I kind of like having a little bit of risk because I'm a hardcore player after all, and I like playing hardcore because of the risk. So having that slight XP loss risk there means you really have to be engaged in the game and you have to have some kind of penalty for death. Otherwise, you don't really care about dying, which I like. The talent system was pretty confusing to me. The skill trees were great, very easy to understand, but the stamina points and the other talent points, the skill points, I didn't really understand very much. I didn't know what some of it meant. There was like a finishing ability and another one, which I guess I'll just kind of learn more by playing the game and reading more of the tooltips and stuff, but it was not very intuitive right off the bat. I didn't really know which ones to put my points in. So I'll probably have to figure that out so I can make a guide to help people with that one. The second time we got into a PvP altercation, there were some guys that were actually killing people that were just running by. So they had the corruption debuff, so we were actually able to kill some of them pretty easily because they get reduced health and reduced damage. So if you do see people that have a corruption buff, they're actually pretty easy targets. You want to like target them down and kill them first because they have less health and they're not doing as much damage. So it made it kind of nice to, it was kind of cool to see that system in play. And if you do kill a corrupted person, some of their items will drop, so you can actually like loot their items if you kill them and wipe them, which is super cool. We ended up making it to an outdoor dungeon where there were some high level elites, and these things will absolutely one shot you if you don't have a tank. We tried kiting some of them, but ultimately ended up dying too many times. So once again, group comp is very important, and numbers and group comp is what you really want to focus on, and not playing alone in this game. So get yourself a guild and run around and kill mobs with a tank and a healer, preferably 2 healers in case one of your clerics dies, so you can still get rezzed. If I was going to make like a group comp in this game, I'd probably take 1 tank, 2 clerics, 1 bard, and like maybe 2 mages, and then like a ranger. I don't know. Mage is really good DPS. They have good AoE DPS too. You could even take 2 tanks if you're going to be AoE farming to help control the party. I didn't get to see much DPS from the ranger class, but the fighter seemed okay. I just felt like a better DPS would have been better if we just had more mages, so we would have died less. The commission boards were pretty tough to understand. You like go up to this board and you try to grab a mission from there and then go out into the world and do it. But the XP and the rewards didn't really seem very good. So I think maybe these rewards will get better as you level up. So for me, I think my strategy in this game would be to just like get into a group right off the bat and just like power level to at least level 20 or something, so you could start doing the outdoor dungeons and maybe some higher level commission boards to get gear. One thing I really, really, really didn't like about this game is you get no loot. Like nothing was dropping gear. There was no quest giving you gear. There was no outdoor dungeons. No mobs were dropping gear. Like nothing was dropping anything. So I was killing all these mobs without any gear, just the starter gear. And I mean, I made it to like level 6. in about 6 hours of playing the game. And I still didn't have any gear, like not a single piece. And we were trying to figure out, like, yo, how do we get gear? Because gearing is my favorite part of the game. And there was just none dropping. And I do feel like you need to give people slow increments of gear to feel power creep and like to feel like you're getting stronger. And this game definitely didn't have any of that. I mean, and like you're like, oh, but you're only level 6, right? But like level 6, you know, it takes a couple hours to get to level 6. You know, and normally you get to level 6 in like a few minutes, but in this game, not really. And there's also no main story quest line. So that's one thing I feel like the game is. It's a sandbox game, so I guess maybe you don't need a main story quest line, but like Final Fantasy, Throne and Liberty, they have main story quest lines. Like Retail WoW has a main story quest line where you can kind of follow along, and this game is not really following that path, at least from what I've seen in the alpha. I would like to see probably some kind of story or lore going on with this game to help me get more immersed in the world. The world is beautiful, beautifully designed. The zones are amazing. I like the music in the zones. I like the combat music. I would just like a little bit of lore or storyline to get me just that much more immersed in the world. And into the game. I think that this game has a lot of potential, and I'm really looking forward to, you know, degenning it and seeing what it has to offer in the mid to late game. Those are my initial thoughts. Just to kind of recap. Yeah, basically what you do right now is you log into the game, try to get a group of like 6 to 8 people, at least one tank and a healer. And you go and you grind mobs until you to level up quickly. And preferably you grind like humanoids or you grind the outdoor dungeons to have maybe a chance at loot dropping. We didn't get that high, so honestly, I don't know if that's even going to happen, but hopefully it does. That's pretty much it. Maybe you do professions if like that's what you want to do, but for me, for right now, I would pretty much avoid all quests. I would avoid the commission board. And those are the only other things. And then PvP seemed like it was pretty fun, but I don't know if there's a reason to do PvP other than to just like have fun and go kill people. Unless maybe if they're flagged up, sorry, if they have the corruption debuff, then maybe you go kill them to try and see if they have anything. You can loot them and take their stuff, which is pretty cool. The mounts were pretty slow in this game. They don't actually, I think a mount is actually slower than sprinting. So maybe the mounts get faster as you level up, similar to WoW. Like if you get an epic mount, maybe it'll be faster towards the end game. The starting zone was pretty laggy because there's only one starting zone. Everyone starts there. And so maybe they could do a couple different starting zones to kind of split people up a bit. But I do like seeing everybody all in one place at one time. So if minus the lag, I think it's great. That's pretty much my take on the first day of Ashes of Creation. I would definitely say that it's worth checking out. It is in the alpha state, so I'm not trying to be too picky with it. I'm looking forward to testing it, giving my feedback to the devs, and helping them make this game a much better game as we continue to go forward into the official release. If you like Ashes of Creation videos, I'll be making hundreds of them. So make sure you follow the channel. I'm Sardako, and I'll see you next time.